Yeah, you keep saying man. All
Yes.
right, now, if we are in the image of God, I'm in a room right now full of women and men. Are you speaking of man in the general sense?
Man, by definition, is divine mind. He is mind by definition. And there is a distinction between man and human.
Mm.
Human is two words,
Hmm.
and the E is dropped. Therefore, most people never look up what it means to look up hue.
You say you've lost the ability to be humane? Uh,
Not only that, but to understand the etymology of the word hue as well as the word man. You have two types of people on the earth. Human is a man who whose mind has been colored, meaning his mind is no longer pure in the worship or in the knowledge of deity, whose name is Yahweh. And in the beginning was man, which was Adam. And Adam was both male and female. And he was the original man. And therefore his mind was divine until the man of hue, the man of color, whose
wait.
mind had been changed, Lucifer.
Back up a second here, just a moment. Because you're about to upset all of my preschool and my early school religious training here for just a second. I was taught that Adam and Eve were two totally separate, unique beings. I mean, Eve was grafted from Adam, but unique from Adam, all in that same sense. You've just told me that Adam was both man and woman.
Yes, this is found in Genesis chapter 5, verse 2. Adam was both male and female. Therefore, Adam was a people. And Adam is described in the scriptures as the son of Yahweh. He was the son of Yahweh. Now, Eve is also a people, both male and female, whose mind was colored by Lucifer. When the war in heaven took place, remember,
Let's before we get to that. I mean, I know this is something you probably said thousands of times, but there are people out here who are listening to you for the first time and may not understand this. I am listening to this for the first time, and I need to get past this barrier. I was taught again that I don't believe in evolution. All right, I believe that man was made perfect. Man was made in the image of God. Man was made then as he is now. We are basically no different, maybe a little shorter, maybe a little overweight, less energetic. But from a point of gentilia, you were man and you were woman. You were telling me they were both. What was the difference? I mean, I'm guess I'm having a hard time getting past this particular barrier right now. Was Adam physically a man, or was he both?
Adam was an allegory,
Okay.
and Eve was an allegory. They were symptomatic.
Yeah, give me something I can touch.
Absolutely. They were a people, and history was often described a whole people
Hmm.
as a man. So the scriptures made it very clear in Genesis from the beginning that Adam was male and female, a people, a group of people who were perfect in their creation.
Asexual?
They were both male and female, not a single man.
Hmm.
They were just as we are today. Our counterpart is a female.
How did he give birth?
Just like we're doing now. There's no difference. Adam was always male and female. I don't mean as a single person, divided as we are now.
Hmm.
And the division that finally came was in the minds of Adam through Eve.
When they sinned, God introduced shame. If we were man and woman, what did we have to hide from one another? What do we have to be ashamed of?
We became ashamed because of the knowledge we took on of good and evil. It's a shame. It makes you ashamed. When we were in the Garden of Eden, we were in a perfect state. Garden also means our economy was perfect. Our educational systems were perfect. Our social systems and social interrelationships were all perfect. We had nothing but a heavenly condition. And until we listened to a philosophy which was antithetical to that given by Yahweh, symbolized once again by two trees in the garden. One tree was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The other was the tree of life, eternal. So we were forbidden to eat of the tree of good and evil, which was knowledge. So you see right away, here's a key to the reality that we were dealing with minds. And until our minds were corrupted, we were a perfect people. And we flourished. Everything about us flourished in harmony with the will and the laws of God. So until we broke those laws, we were in this garden of bliss, symbolized by a garden. When you look at a garden, you see plants, vegetables, and trees. You see the multiplication and the proliferation of them.
Yes. You see the balance.
Yes.
Can we agree that there were still, of these two, or of the number, there were two?
Oh, there were millions. Adam constituted millions of people. Hundreds of millions of people.
Now, where
was
does
Adam.
it say that in the Bible?
Well, it simply says them. Them could be taken for the plural of Adam as a man and his female with him. That's the way that was. Adam as male, man, and his female with him, his type, his kind, the family of God. They were a family, more than simply, see, we were classified as one people, and we were not thought about as millions, as depicted in Genesis. We were one.
What does that say about years?
Oh, we were infinite. There's no beginning to God. That's
so
what
as time as we perceive it in the Bible may not have been as it was measured in the book of Genesis?
Time is measured that way, but the beginning of Genesis is not dealing with the beginning of time as we think of it. It was the beginning of this civilization. This civilization, which is ruled by the minds of Satan, began 6,000 years ago. And the whole story and scenario of the Bible is to depict that beginning of this history of civilization to its end.
It does not introduce this civilization as we know it when Yahweh introduced it, sin-free?
Oh, no. It's Yahweh has always been, his civilization has always been, his angels have always been.
So then, the opening of Genesis, there was not a period when we were sin-free, when the environment was sinless at the opening of Genesis. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm telling you, it was sinless before Genesis.
Yeah, but as of Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, it was sin.
Yes.
There was sin.
Yes.
Okay, we've broken all kind of rules because we've skipped breaks and all kind of stuff. We can't slip that one in, can we? No. All right, let me do one quick thing before we move on to the next subject. Fascinating. I'm going to tell you something fascinating. And I will start asking the questions. I'm getting people throwing things at me and reminding me of questions. Fascinating. We could spend 6 hours just interpreting Genesis.
Yes.
But as again, I want to introduce overall what you're doing, your purpose. And I think that background is important. I'd like after the break to start talking about the Hebrew part of the background, or Yahweh. And we are taking a look into his organization, demystifying the Yahweh, the nation of Yahweh. And I'll tell you, the first half hour flew by. I was fascinated. Before we go on, how can one call himself the Son of God if the King James Version of the Bible has been proven to be the worst translation, according to scholars?
Well, of course, that's a matter of opinion. We must distinguish between translation, what it actually means, and the authenticity of the word of Yahweh himself. We are told in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15, what to do about that problem of if there's a mistranslation. And that is to study. In order to know what study means is not to pass a test or get an A. Study means to research all of the facts about a thing, a letter, a word, the etymology of that word. Seek to learn the nature of the thing in question that you're researching about. And after you've gleaned all possible information, apply that information to better yourself and humanity as a whole. So In order to be approved by Yahweh, you must become a student. You must study. Being that he is divine mind, we can only approach him through the mind. And for that reason, it doesn't really matter if there's a mistranslation or not. That's why the Son of Yahweh is sent, is to clear up all confusion and bring peace back to the earth. That's why I'm listed in one scripture as the Prince of Peace.